Hey y'all, just a quick disclaimer before we begin the episode. My microphone recording had a slight little fizzy, like zzz, bzz, 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 some annoying sound that I could not deal with. So I replaced it with my Zoom audio. Not quite as crisp, but it's still a solid audio and it's still a more than solid episode. So hope y'all enjoy. Hello everybody, my name is Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
And welcome back to the 37th, yes, 37th episode of Inner Wider Screen, where
two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies.
So, question. I thought this was fitting for the movie we're talking about. What goes up but never comes down?
What goes up but never comes down? Okay. I got my glasses on today, so that makes me smart.
So I hope so. Gives you some bonus points for your
Yeah. What goes up but doesn't come down? Well, that defies Newton's law of gravity. So this is a misguided question. And what goes up but never comes down? Goes up but never comes down. And I've heard this one before, so I know the answer. And as soon as you say the answer, I'm going to be like, damn it, I knew it, but I didn't get it.
I thought I was giving you a freebie here. I'm surprised you don't know it.
I should know it because, again, I've heard this one before. I just can't seem to remember what the answer was. So okay, give me like 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. What goes up but doesn't come down? What goes up but doesn't what goes up but doesn't come down? So but doesn't come down.
You got 5 seconds, girl. 3, 2, no. Okay. It's your age.
And that's just stupid. I feel like there's a more clever answer that could be said. There might be,
but you didn't think of this one either, so.
Yeah, but I don't like that answer. So in that case, I win.
Well, I don't like how this is starting so far, but anyway. So, yes, we're...
Please, I need a win today, okay?
Well, we are. We're winning by having this episode. We get to talk. We get to sit down here and talk. Like, that's not a win?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's with you, so that's debatable.
That's true. Anyways, we are here today, though, to talk about a very new release in Don't Look Up, which reminds me... real quick, I just want to mention yesterday were the Golden Globe Awards. I don't know if you heard about this. If you didn't, I don't think a lot of people did either because they were not televised this year because of all the boycotts and everything.
Okay, good, because I lied before. I did not know it was yesterday. I just said yes anyway. I was like, yes, I have a movie podcast. Of course I know this.
No, but anyway, it was only noteworthy just because it was the first, I would say, kind of the awards of the year. Okay. So, what won? Let me think. Power of the Dog won drama. West Side Story won musical comedy. And then what else won? I didn't watch them. Well, nobody watched them. They were posted on Twitter. But basically, Power of the Dog won director too, and Benedict Cumberbatch actor, and Andrew Garfield won actor too. Tick Boom.
I'm so proud of him.
It was so good. And Rachel's like
I'm happy for him. Now that's a guy who needed a win.
Oh yeah, because he didn't have enough wins this year.
Well, I just mean like his life. He's been going through a time in life, you know.
Yeah.
And then with it, it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. What else are we saying? Did you manage to watch anything this last week?
I went back to work this week, so no, I've been very busy. And
I think I started tomorrow.
Well, no, I started last week because we're doing training before the training to train. It's a whole thing. But before, so it was that, and then it was a lot of birthdays last week too. So that kept me busy.
That happened too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got nothing. You're forgetting one.
I feel like I am. I feel like I saw... Oh, yeah, we did! We saw The Kingsman.
which I just posted the theater video for that one.
Yes. Yeah.
But safe to say, we both enjoyed it for what it was, right? And
It
nothing
it
much more than that.
was
It was a
it
movie.
was yeah.
I was entertained by it, but you know, that's about it.
There was one good fight scene.
Which one at the end?
Well, no, okay, I'm sorry. There were good fight scenes, but there was one fight scene that was a Kingsman fight scene that I enjoyed.
Makes sense. Okay. What else did I see? Actually, that's the last movie I watched. Was The Kingsman. I've not
Okay.
watched anything either
All
this
right.
week. Well, I did watch something last night. Season 2 of Euphoria premiered, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
a great first episode of the season. Have you even watched season 1 of Euphoria?
I have seen season 1. I've not gotten around to watching season 2, and I do plan to. It's emotionally draining to watch that show.
I was
So,
this first episode isn't as draining because it's kind of the
okay.
opener, so it's kind of like not, I
Yeah.
mean, not really spoilery, but most of it's set in a party, and which I really like because you can kind of get an idea of what all the characters been up to, all in one setting.
That that's expected. It's
Now the
usually
emotionally
just a party.
draining, right? Now the emotionally draining episodes, which you should still watch, are the specials they released last year.
Yeah. Which
But
is
those
again why
are worth
I
watching.
want to watch them, but it's just like it just takes a lot to watch them.
Sorry.
It is a lot to just take in and everything there. So
Well,
it's like
it's too bad. You still need to watch them.
I need to be at like peak mental health in order to be able to get through them. Unfortunately, I have yet to reach that point. Maybe one day.
Maybe one, and by that point, the show will already be over. But it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last thing before we get into our discussion of the movie today, if you haven't already, make sure to like our videos, comment, subscribe. We actually, our subscriber count last week was around 40 something. We're now in the 50s.
Wow. Getting closer to my goal of what was it? It was like 62 or something.
It says 62 by the end of 2022.
We're gonna get there, buddy.
I mean, hey, keep your no.
Hey,
Next thing you know,
yeah, shoot low, right? And then
right,
who knows what
right.
happens?
I mean, next thing you know, we kind of hit a grinding halt, and we only managed to get to 61. You never know. But
You never know.
hey, my goal was 100. So if we can get there sooner than we think,
Yeah.
that'd be really great. But anyways,
Yeah, I think that's still aiming pretty high. But you know what? I like the enthusiasm.
you need to have more confidence in what we're doing here.
No, no, I
Clearly,
will not.
because look at this background that I found online. The signification. Anywho,
Beautiful.
so today we will first of all let me just say this real quick. So something that we noticed we haven't really done much on the show this far is talk about more movies that are more recent, more in the conversation of things kind of thing. So I thought what better way to get into that than talk about our movie this week.
Don't look up.
Oh, don't look up. Basically one of the more, I would say outside of Spider-Man, probably one of the more popular movies out there right now. I think now that you've seen the movie, do you understand? I guess you can understand why that is. Pretty
Yes,
device,
I
pretty
had-
yeah.
Ooh.
Your thoughts?
That it was. I'm kind of scared to talk about this, but also I'm like I don't know what our audience is like. I haven't done enough research into
You're not gonna get
our
heat. You're not gonna get
audience.
heat either way. I promise you that. Whether you liked it or didn't like it, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It was
Anyway,
it was something.
It was something. Yes. Or
On
is
a
it-
light note, I'm wearing a space shirt because it's space. I don't know because it's got little stars
true.
and planets on it. It's
I can
space.
I can see the comment like on your shirt actually. It's like
Oh,
on its way to
that's
Earth. It's very cool.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway,
That's-
Don't Look Up. Just to introduce it real quick, this is directed by Adam McKay. If you're unfamiliar with him, he directed Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, The Other Guys, and then he kind of ventured in more dramatic territory with The Big Short and Vice. So obviously this is his latest effort as a director and writer. And then this stars probably the best cast I've seen in years. Like Leo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Rob Morgan, Jonah Hill, Mark Rylance, Tyler Perry, Timothy Chalamet, Ron Perlman, Ariana Grande, Kid Cudi, Kate Blanchett, Meryl Streep. Like
It's insane.
nuts. Pretty
The
insane.
cast. I remember when the trailer first came out, and I was like, "What is what is happening? It was just one face after the other, and I was like, I was like, I don't know what to expect from this movie. Like, this is
Yeah,
insane.
absolutely.
All of these names.
Or in it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this, like we said,
It's
this
just
is a.
like the
Oh, God, sorry.
it's a weird mix. Like it's just like nothing about it makes sense, and it's awesome.
It's just like they
So
just grabbed all the A-listers that they could, and they
yeah,
just let's throw it in
what's
there and
wrong
see
with
what
it?
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was, like I said, a recent release. It was released on December 10th, 2021. It was made on a $75 million budget, which is actually lower than I was expecting, considering all the stars that were in this. Like, how much were they paid?
I
I'm sure
know.
Leo and J-Lo and Jennifer Lawrence got like 20 mil each at least. That's like half the budget. So I don't know what they did with that. And however, because this is Netflix, they don't release their box office numbers, so we don't know how much it made in theaters, though it was pretty limited. So obviously, most people like us saw it streaming. Um, and speaking of the streaming, I mean, it's already like their third highest movie ever on Netflix, and it's only been out for like a couple weeks. It's pretty crazy.
Impressive.
Um, there now we are in award season. This is definitely going to be an awards player. So obviously we don't get nominations for a while, but some of the nominations it's thinking to get are Best Picture, Screenplay, Score, Original Song for Just Look Up, which would be an interesting nomination. Film editing is
That's
also a
hilarious.
possible one. These ones are more long shots, but not entirely impossible. Director and actor for Leo. Um, definitely more definitely more of a long shots, but they're not impossible. So they'll probably get at least around 5 nominations, 6, something like that, or it could just get
Okay.
0. You never know. But just keep an eye out for it. So I mean, this is at least Martha. When we talk about the Oscars later, you'll know one movie on the
I'll
list.
have seen one of them at least. Just the one.
That's this. And the quick synopsis is actually a really short synopsis.
Okay.
Two low-level astronomers must go on a giant media tour to warn humankind of an approaching comet that will destroy planet Earth.
Okay. Short and sweet. I like
Short,
it.
sweet, straight to the point. I like it.
Straight to the point. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I would argue this whole movie is pretty much straight to the point too.
Straight to the point. Yeah. Regardless of it being what, 2 hours long?
It's like a little over two
Two
hours, yeah.
little
Well,
2 hour.
like
Yeah.
two
So
fifteen, 220. Yeah.
okay. It's still very straight to the point in
Oh
your
yeah.
face. Very
Very
clear
much.
what they're trying to do here, what they're trying to
Right.
say here.
Yeah. Well, how did that impact you then? So just to be clear, this is my second time watching the movie. I watched it last week when it came on Netflix, but this was your first time. Um,
Yes.
I've been really interested to know what you thought of this movie.
I was okay. So I just going straight into it. I knew it was going to be very like dry comedy, and that is like right up my alley. So I was very excited to watch that. Now I've gotten mixed reviews from it. Like some people have told me like, "Oh, it's really good," and some people were like, "I don't know how I felt about that." Right off the bat, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too. Okay. Oh God, thank you.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Okay, cool.
Everything about it. It is the in your face humor, it is the subtlety that you have to just really know what's going on in the world around you currently to like really be able to like see like pick up on a lot of the subtle jokes in the background. So
There are a
there's so
few.
much
Yeah.
there's a lot of details in this movie. And just overall it just turned into just a very funny, slightly scary.
Yeah. I felt the same way. So I was when you told me you texted me, I think almost word for word. I just finished the movie and I have thoughts.
Thoughts.
And that kind of scared me because obviously, like you said, pretty divisive the movie. And understandably a lot of people don't like it. Me personally, this is one of my favorite movies of the year. I thought this movie was so funny. But so
It
I
was
was
hilarious.
kind of scared, but I'm glad you like it. Well, you say we don't know where to start, but we can just get into it like we always do. Um,
Yeah.
I think it was a great choice just starting the movie. How literally the first scene is her finding the comet, right? Like normally it would kind of build into the way they like find the comet, would establish what they do and everything. They don't really do that. It's like nah, like they discover the comet, like this is what's happening. It's coming to Earth, and we're gonna deal with it,
Yeah.
which I did like. Um, I will say though too, for the life of me, I don't know why they had Jennifer Lawrence rapping Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah,
That was an
I
odd
was like,
choice.
oh, this, this might come in later.
It doesn't.
It didn't. But also I feel like that's just like, no, I don't know.
Especially because
I,
you have her unique look in this movie with the kind of the mullet kind of
yeah,
thing she's got going
it's
and her piercings and everything. It's just
yeah.
not like
She's
her.
definitely like, yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
think she's a good embodiment of, I don't even, what generation? I don't even know.
I don't know what
Millennial?
generation she.
Like
I think
millennial Gen Z.
something
Because
like
okay,
that.
so she's a grad student, so she's probably like
She's in her late 20s.
late 20s. So that's millennial,
I think that's
cusp of
Gen
Gen
Z.
Z.
Either way, we can get all
Gen
technical,
X.
but
I don't even know. But point is like I feel like it's a good embodiment of like the people we see now. So
that's true.
including the rap, because you know what, that what she was, that's me. Me trying to rap, and it doesn't look pretty.
You know,
It just
because
is.
I mean, you don't listen to rap, period. So when you do hear
Yeah.
them
So
try to
that's
rap, it
another
just
thing, is that's what makes it worse. So
right.
I really felt like I connected with the character
That's fair. That's fair.
in these moments. Yeah.
Um, so then we get introduced to Leo DiCaprio, and he gets this information from Kate, and he breaks it all down, and it's like tight on his face as he's figuring out like what's happening. That like, oh, it's gonna hit Earth pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
He's like, oh, so that tells us all we need to know. Then this quote pops up on the screen, which I would try to figure out what it really meant for this movie the second time, and I still couldn't figure it out. So the quote is, "I want to die peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather, not screaming in terror like his passengers."
Yeah.
And do you have an interpretation for what that means in regards to the movie? Because I don't really have one.
Well, I'm thinking it has to do with like, well, because this whole movie is facing death. Is that
Yeah,
it's knowing that you are going to die. And there is no changing that
it's
fact.
inevitability.
And not in a way that's like a, we're all going to die, we all know that. But, not today. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. And we don't know how we're going to die. But in certain instances, you do know how you're going to die. And in this case, they knew they were going to die because of the comet. In that quote, they knew that they were going to die, which I'm assuming is like, I don't know, like let's say like a captain of a ship. They're in a boat, and the boat is heading towards the iceberg. All right, and they see that iceberg coming, and there is no turning around. You are going to die,
Right.
and that is it. So it's like, it's either the knowing how you're going to die and knowing that it's going to happen soon, versus just falling asleep and it happening to you peacefully.
That's fair.
Death.
This movie is basically death. Yeah. To cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another aspect. So this is kind of what I was thinking. If you didn't like this movie, this is an aspect that I figured would be why. So I want to know how you feel about it. So you get this edit at this point in the movie where they call the Dr. Oglethorpe, and he's like, "Who's
Yes.
that?" "Oh, he's in charge of the planetary office, whatever." And the logo just like pops up.
I thought that was interesting.
That's the first
yeah.
of a lot of weird edits you're gonna get.
But it's weird because it isn't a constant in the movie. It's just
You don't think so?
at least.
Well, not that particular edit where things pop up on screen, but the editing choices. I think there's a lot of unique ones.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of unique editing choices, that's for sure. But like that specifically, that just little sidebar that's like, oh, it's a real organization, and pulling up the badge,
Yeah.
like that was. I thought that was gonna be like throughout the movie.
Yeah, I was worried about that too. And it was gonna feel
Yeah.
like it reminded me of did you saw Suicide Squad, right?
The first one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how like
It's
all
been
the
a
characters
while.
when they were introduced, they were all just all their information about them would just flash up. That's what I kind of thought it was gonna be like. I was like, oh, this is gonna get obnoxious, but they don't do that. Which is good.
That's good.
And then so basically they run it through him, and then they end up basically saying, okay, y'all got to come to the White House. Like this is serious. And then they meet that general, who digital. But basically, you're already just getting seeds of doubt from like everyone that's within like the government. It's not those three scientists. Like even the general's like, oh, we'll just see whatever this turns out to be, stuff like that.
Everyone
It's
is
like,
just not not quite understanding the severity of the situation.
no.
And it is due to most of the time selfish reasons. Just
Oh yeah. I mean, as you
if
literally see later on, like they're all literally doing it for their
the
own
most
selfish
selfish
reasons. Yeah. Oh yeah.
reasons, and what this movie has to say about human nature. Whoo,
Right.
whoo, whoo, whoo.
Very definitely does not let human nature off easy. That's for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So speaking of the editing choices, how did you feel about the way it cuts to like the opening credits? Because like Jennifer Lawrence is about to like throw up in a trash bucket because she's like freaking out while talking to the president, and then it's just like don't look up with that like jazzy
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
I
don't
like
like
the
it.
touch.
I
Oh,
didn't like
really?
it.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, like it cutting. No, I liked it. I thought it was interesting.
No,
I felt
defend
like it.
yourself.
I think it stays in theme with the movie of it being very like this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is what you're getting. It's abrupt. It is here. This is it. This is the
That's
movie.
true. Yeah, I get that. I don't know.
I
Just
feel it fits.
the way the music came in, I was like, this feels like Saturday Night Live. And I don't know how I would feel about that.
I did not get those
Well, because
vibes.
the music is kind of like jazzy and
The
stuff.
jazzy. I like it. I like it because it reminds me of like maybe like being put on hold and like like the on hold music or like elevator music.
Yeah.
And that music is put there in order to like soothe people so that they don't start freaking out, and I think that it's like a nice little touch to a movie about
Okay.
the end of the world.
Hey, look at that. Okay.
So, yeah.
And you know what? You changed my mind. There you go.
There you go.
But then we get after all that's over though, we get into probably my favorite running joke of the whole movie is the general basically charging them for these free snacks,
I hilarious.
which I
Top
have
tier
read.
comedy right here.
Oh yeah, I've read people saying it's like that part's like a metaphor for like how the government charges us for shit that like we shouldn't be paying for.
My brother came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you know what that joke's about, right?" And then like said exactly what you just said. I think like word for word actually.
Oh.
So
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think it's great, especially the way we'll talk about the way Jennifer Lawrence keeps just bringing it up. 'Cause clearly, I mean, it bothered me too. I'd be like, you said $10 a person for these free snacks.
It's free. You're a general. You clearly have money.
Yeah, like
You
why?
you don't need it.
Right,
So why?
exactly.
What was the point? Yeah. But it was a nice touch for sure.
Right. Um, but then after all of that, they're waiting on the president. President keeps them waiting and waiting and waiting. So they come back the next day. And Leo is just about to have the biggest panic attack ever, which I get.
Yeah.
They. And then this is okay. I love Leo in this. Obviously, he's one of the best actors, probably one of my favorites. Oh, well, is one of my favorites. Jonah Hill in this one. It's like everything out of his mouth. I like
It's hilarious.
had me cracking up. Like he does not hide at all how bored and uninterested he is in this entire conversation. And he
Yeah.
notices Leo like unable to like breathe, contain himself. He's like, "You're breathing weird. It's making me uncomfortable."
Yes, no, he's very as everything else in this movie upfront about his feelings, also about the fact that yeah, you know what, my mom is the president. Yeah, that is how I got this job.
Right.
Your
That's
point.
true. Yeah. And
Yeah, he's like, I'm not qualified. We're all aware of this. Let's move on,
yeah.
okay? Let's
And
talk
even
about how boring you are.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even Jennifer
Yeah.
Lawrence is like, like, who are you? Like, why are you talking? Like, aren't you her son? He's like, I'm the chief of staff boy with the dragon tattoo.
The giant tattoo. There's just so many quips in this movie that just work so well.
Which I'm sure, I mean, just basing it off McKay's previous movies, I'm sure some of that was improvised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh,
I'm sure a lot of it was with Jonah Hill, but I remember literally though, like during the scene, like there was so much happening between things these characters are in each other and how much it was cutting to. Like I literally could not write notes for everying that I wanted to write notes
Yeah,
for.
I know. I think the only note that I was able to mark down was the picture with Mariah Carey.
Which was
But it
some
was
fun
just like,
touch. Yeah.
yeah, but it was just, there was just so much going on, which again, just, I think they do a very good job of establishing mood in
Yeah.
this story and with each shot. And like, it's like, it shows the disinterest of certain characters and the frantic feeling of other characters all within one frame of it,
Yeah.
like shooting around the room, and how it's like you hear them, they're like talking and trying to explain like this is a serious thing that is happening, and it's like the camera's all over the room and it's stressful to watch it just like jumping
Yeah.
around everywhere, but also each frame is filled with like, oh, Meryl Streep posing with this celebrity, and
Right.
it's like it is just, they do such a great job of doing that, of setting the mood in
Yeah.
every shot.
They really add to like the, I guess, the whole pressure of what's happening and like the anxiety like they're feeling. And yeah, I mean, I think like the whole movie like kind of seems like this is a really good job. I feel like this is the best scene because like you're saying, it's like they're on their end like panicking that they're like trying to get this message straight that the world is ending, and then the other end is not at all interested in hearing what they have to say. And then the best way it ends is Jonah Hill being like going up to Kate and being like, "Thanks for dressing up." He's terrible to her. It's funny.
Yeah, they're the two of them like just constantly fighting throughout this movie.
Oh, yes.
And like the times that they get to be in the same shot is just hilarious to me. It's
Right.
like, because later on, like she ends up getting kidnapped, and he's like, I asked them personally to put a bag over your head. They didn't need to.
They didn't have to do
But
that.
I
The CIA
told
does
them to,
that,
and
but
they
I
did.
did it.
Yeah,
Freaking
like things
funny,
like
man.
that is just, it's
Yeah.
perfect. The two together were hilarious, which is an odd combination, but it worked.
It works so well. I'm like, I could see them
Yeah.
like just going back and forth the whole movie. That'd be
Oh,
good. But what I basically got out of this scene, which I thought was really an interesting thing, was just it just shows that people in power, like Meryl Streep's character, they are not going to act on these things unless it's politically advantageous to them, even if they themselves know how important a certain issue may be. They just, I mean, yeah, they're talking about, oh, it's going to affect our midterms, and we're going to lose the midterm,
Yeah.
and then we're not going to get elected, and we can't do anything about it anyway. And then they got this whole Supreme Court thing going on. Like they're clearly just focusing on what is going to benefit them.
Was like her boyfriend, who has no experience whatsoever, that she's decided to appoint him as a Supreme Court nominee, but he is also was like in a porno, and like and like it was, I forgot the quote, but it was like pro guns, but like something else.
They said that he has a reputation for shoot first, ask questions later.
Shoot first, ask questions later. I died. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little too real.
Yeah.
And another
which
quote
also, if you're ever wondering what party the movie is talking about throughout it all, you're not questioning it.
No. But what I do love, though, clearly you could tell which party they're taking digs at in certain points of the movie, but I will argue that it takes digs at the other side too at certain points.
That's true. This is absolutely true. Yeah. There's definitely digs at both sides.
It's not just a one-sided thing.
Yeah, it's not hypocritical, so that's good. Although I guarantee that the other side watching this movie is most definitely seeing these digs more aimed at them, and are gonna completely ignore the digs at the other side too.
100%.
And because of that, they're gonna be like, I actually saw a tweet that was like, it was just like a video of like keys dangling, and it was like, this is what the movie is to the left or something like this. It was just like
okay,
just keys dangling in front of someone's face is just like keep them interested. So obviously, I think the message might go over a couple people's heads, unfortunately.
So like, even like you were mentioning some of the subtle things. So I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it really reminded me of this. The way Meryl Streep is telling them to sit tight and assess reminded me of when Trump in that debate was like, for Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Do you remember that?
Yep, I remember that.
And I don't know if that was an intentional choice, but that is exactly what it reminded me of, because I remember
It
after that, that's all the media, like that was what everyone hinged on. I mean, not even just the media, like everyone, like online, everything, like remembered that phrase, because it's like,
yeah.
why would you say that?
That was actually the first thing I thought of too when I heard that, and I was like, okay, so we're doing this.
Right.
So
Which is, I
we're
mean, yeah.
yeah.
Obviously, Meryl Streep is like, I would say, is most acting like Trump in this movie, but I would say that she's not acting at like one particular president. At least this is what they said. Apparently, they say that she has shades of Clinton in there and stuff too. But definitely,
I
Jonah
can
Hill is acting like
yeah.
like Trump's kids.
Yeah, no, there for sure because it's also like there's like the part where she's like, "Oh, well, they were trying to catch me smoking, and so I just, came out and was said I was smoking, and then I turned out to be a cool president." And it's like
Mm-hmm.
that shows like I don't know, maybe like Obama or someone
Yeah,
that was like,
right,
"Ah, I'm a cool
exactly.
president."
Yeah,
So like I could definitely see that there are different shades there
yeah,
of past presidencies, all of them being just
right.
combined into one giant mess.
Yeah,
Just
basically.
yeah.
Another giant mess that we get is Mark Rylance's character, who's basically like this Elon Musk, Bill Gates kind of person.
Yeah. I also
Um,
saw another tweet that was like, I love that they managed to get every single one of those like billionaire club guys and they morphed them into one person.
one person, hundred
Like the
percent.
looks of it all. And I was like, oh my God, it's so
Not
true
even, yeah,
though.
just the look of his, like his demeanor, his outfits, even like his teeth, even
It's
his voice.
everything
Like it feels,
incredible.
it's literally everything into it. And first indication that you get that he's a total jerk is when they have those little kids out on stage, and the little girl's like, "May I say something, Mr. Ishmael?" No.
No.
And then she's like, "I love you, Peter." It just ignores her,
And he just
and all you
ignores
see is
her,
this
does
girl
not
just like
care.
wanting to cry and walks off.
I know. It's just everything about it. I mean, even the way that they introduced him, it was like make no sudden movements. Like
Right? They were
it
like,
was
"Shut up."
just like yeah. It's just what a ridiculous character, but also hilarious.
Yeah,
Hilarious. And
I
scary.
just it is scary because
Everything in this movie is hilarious and scary
I
because it
100
is all real.
I 100% agree with you on that. That's actually like that was like the last point I thought of this movie. It's like I enjoy this movie because of how funny it is, but it's also kind of scary because of how real it all feels. Like this legit feels like all like okay, we're kind of laughing at ourselves in a way. Like this is what our reality is right now, basically.
This is our reality. That
I
we are
mean,
living through this movie. We
right?
are living through this goddamn
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Another interesting editing choice that I actually did like about this movie was the shots like that kind of would go in and out of nature in this movie or like other aspects of the
Yeah.
world. And I've heard that like some people find them random or out of place, but I like it
I
because
don't think so. I think it. No,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I think that obviously like with the world ending, you're just focused on your own selfish needs, and I think it just reminds you that the world is much bigger than just you. Like there's so much, dude. Like we forget like how much there is in the world in terms of like bigger than our species, bigger than our environments. Like if the world was
Yeah.
ending, it would affect all of that, not just us and our own
Not
lives. You
just
know.
and our own problems and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. The world, contrary to popular belief, does not revolve all around
I
us.
know.
Insane. We are not the main character
Unfortunately, not.
in our
I feel
story.
like it. No.
It's funny. Funny enough, yeah.
So now they have their whole message that they need to share with the world. So they go on this morning show that very much looks like those MSNBC kind of shows.
Yeah.
And basically, and it's with Tyler Perry, Kate Blanchett as these hosts. um, yeah,
Amazing.
but
I think
obviously, oh sorry,
great choices. Yeah, just great choices for the actors here. I think that's. I think it works.
I think they're good choices. Yeah.
Kate Blanchett. Oh God, she did.
Oh
She
no,
did an incredible job playing
I
this
thought
type of character.
yeah, even like I mean, they put some kind of makeup on her,
Yeah.
which sells the whole anchor look. But obviously, the whole world is ending thing, that's not a priority for these news channels. Not at all. So first they need to talk to I almost forgot Ariana Grande's name in this. Riley Bina is her name. And her
Yeah.
high profile breakup. So that's what they're there for. And I love the way they like go into the room and that guy who's in charge of I don't know scheduling and all that. He's like, "So you're here. You'll talk about the planet you discovered. We're gonna keep it light and fun. You know, they love science. They love to enjoy
They
science.
love, yeah, they love their science, whatever segments. Yeah, it's
There's
like
science
that's not what
segments
we're.
here to do.
Yeah, they're
Do they
like
know why
they
we're
do
here?
know what we're here for,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I love when Leo talks to Ariana. He's like, I'm so sorry about your breakup. We heard about that. It was terrible. She's like, why don't you mind your own business, you old fuck?
Yeah, yeah, that was fun. She certainly does a very good job of playing the
Snobby pop
the
star type.
snobby, annoying as hell pop star.
Yeah. I very
That
much
that
agree with that.
is yeah, that she really sells. She
I mean, she
very
sold
much
it. She
sells it.
sells it too when she actually goes on the show itself and talks about the breakup. And she's like talking the camera to him. She's like, after many sleepless nights, three.
Three, yeah.
Um,
And then they end up engaged.
you end up
It's
engaged with Kid
beautiful.
Cudi, which love Kid Cudi, which she had more to do. But it's all right. But like clearly, like the whole point is just this show is clearly going to prioritize like the celebrity shit, the political shit. That's what's going to be important to them. And
Yeah.
then once they actually get on the show, I think they do a really good job of both with like the tight shots they get of both Leo and Jennifer Lawrence's face, but to show how much pressure obviously they have to put out this message because it's kind of like we need to put it out in a certain way. Like we only have a certain amount of time to put out this message in a way that like everyone's gonna understand how bad this is. And then you have the host in there like joking around, which is kind of the way you'd see them joking around on an actual TV show when
Yeah,
something
you
serious is
would.
being brought up.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, just trying to make the news fun.
Right, keep it light, because yeah, I mean,
It's
if
not.
people turn on the, I mean, hell, I'm the same way sometimes when I watch the news. Like, if they're talking about depressing shit for so long, I'm like, I need a breather. Like,
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
obviously, like, if you turn into this channel, they're talking about the world's ending, you're like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I need something
yeah.
fun.
Bring back the pop star. That's what I want to
Right.
see.
That's what I want to see. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and love this little line where like then J Law she's like freaking out about it and she like runs off stage and then her boyfriend's coworker or whatever is like, hey man, my brother's bipolar disorder. Like, if you ever need someone.
Someone to talk to. Yeah, and
Yes.
I like the progression of it. Like when he's like first watching her on there, and he's like, "Oh, like that's your girl dog." Like,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations,
I
and then
know.
turns into like,
Yo,
you good?
you good? Like she need help? No. So
Yeah.
yeah, after all that, did not go well for them. They put up a lot of memes, Jennifer Lawrence, which I think they did a good job with the memes because I was worried the memes were gonna be like, 10 years too old kind of memes.
Old people making memes.
Right. And they weren't like that. I thought
Not,
they
yeah,
were pretty good.
they were
Um
accurate. I think they got the teens on the meme crew
yeah.
on
Oh yeah.
set, and
You
they
had
were
to.
ones in charge of that.
Right.
Because it was accurate, like including the fact that it was like that face, the style of it, and then it being turned into like stickers and things like
Yeah.
that.
Very true. Yes.
Accurate.
Very accurate.
Yeah.
And now this is kind of the point where you start seeing Leo become the Dr. Fauci of the movie in a way. Not in the way where he's
What an
like
incredible.
not in the way that he's giving like, scientific information all the time, but just the way that like you take kind of the doctor of the pandemic or whatever's happening, everyone makes him out to be like this kind of
You make him the
star of
face.
the face of the yeah.
You make him the face of the crisis, which is like a weird thing to be the face of, you know?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, the comet's named after her, and everyone's like, "Well, why should we trust you?
Right.
Your name's on the comet that's
I
gonna
love
kill us."
I loved that part so much when he's like,
She's
the
like,
comments ain't after
"Because
you,
I
like
found
why?
it." Yeah.
No, but what I loved is all those moments where they credit him as the founder or the discoverer of the comet, like literally that commercial he's in, like the FEMA PSA or whatever, and it has him like on his title as discoverer of Comet Dibiasky. I'm like, it's named Dibiasky after the freaking discoverer. Like it's not.
It's hilarious.
That's the
Yeah.
point of the name of the. Yeah, it was just. But yeah, I mean, it's very true. Like you're gonna put the face on whoever is the most likable person, like the most who tells them, I guess, what they want to hear in a sense. So if he's not as panicky about it as she is, then it's like, okay, We trust you more
Yeah.
to give us this information about whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, so yeah, he eventually becomes the face. We start seeing some movement happening
yeah,
with like the concern of
yeah.
this thing actually hitting
I
the
mean,
earth.
I will say, well, yeah. Then they went to the news, but they weren't supposed to because they were like, okay, we gotta keep it classified in the White House. But they're like, no, 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 this is important. We gotta tell. So they're all picked up by the FBI. And like you're saying, now we have to start to get movement on the comment because of that scandal you mentioned that the president is now involved in. So now this is an advantage to her. Like she needs something to make her look good. So now she's gonna care about this comment. Um,
Yeah.
and then Jonah Hill's just sitting there laughing, her crying, which I love. But then they're just sitting down in this scene talking like about how they're gonna announce it to the country and all this kind of stuff. And I really liked how they edited between like her talking about the announcement that she's gonna give and then the actual announcement she's giving because
Yeah.
they're I
I
mean
like it.
oh god
Yeah, I like it when movies do that. Like if it's, I usually see it in like a heist movie or something where
mm-hmm.
it's like, all right, so here's the plan,
Right,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, mm-hmm.
I like it. It always adds like a nice visual. It feels less, what is the word I'm looking for? Monologue-y and more
Yeah,
so just like action. It's part of the
right,
movie.
I agree. And
Something is
I think
actually
that's
happening.
yeah, and I think that's what always keeps us moving. Like it's not rarely are there scenes here where it's just people like just talking about what's
Yeah,
happening, but there's always some kind of action moving on. And that's why I think for this movie being over 2 hours, like to me it doesn't feel that very long.
it doesn't. Yeah, it does not feel like it.
So I think that was a
Exactly.
good thing. But I thought this was also a really good contrast to show like what the reality is of actually what's happening, like what they're talking about in that office versus what they're actually presenting to the public. Like the information they're actually giving out is not exactly what's actually going on. Um,
Yeah.
like just
I
like
just
how I mean, like for example, like in regards to the info, like they get this one military guy who's gonna get on this mission to stop the comet or whatever, and he's being portrayed as like an American hero or whatever, but he's the guy that's like yelling at kids on the White House lawn.
Yeah, it's calling them fat and like it just he's
Yeah,
a constant terrible person. He's racist, he's homophobic, and all of that is very clear.
I when
And their explanation is he's from a different
different
generation.
generation, right?
The amount of times I've heard that I have heard that excuse in the last week. I was like in
That's
trouble engaging in a
oh,
situation
you
with
got in a
that earlier
situation like
this
that's
week.
fun.
I got a situation with a Trumpy, so that was fun.
That's
But the
fantastic.
explanation, it's from a different generation.
That's literally the
Does not
excuse you
make it
hear.
better.
No,
Not an
does not justify
excuse.
it.
If you are a shitty person, you are a shitty person, whether you are from the old generation or this generation. You are just a bad person, and just admit that to yourself. It's that simple. Okay.
I might have to clip that on TikTok. That was a good little rant there.
You know what? I just,
No, but I mean, I agree with you 100%. I feel you
yeah.
with that. Also, random little cut that I loved is when they're cutting back and forth, and one of the cuts that ends is when she says African American scientist. It just cuts to that, like out of nowhere, which showing just like
Yeah.
yeah, like clearly they're focused on race or whatever when it's convenient for them. Um, and they're talking about Kate saying how she's the person that's going to connect to the mentally ill youth, all this kind of stuff. Um,
Mentally ill youth. Yeah, it's just it's
I
just
mean, they're all
perfect.
terrible to Kate, but Jonah Hill in particular is like the worst because he's saying like, "Oh, we've been dying to hear what you have to say." Like, just sit there, and then like you said, the moment where he says, "I'm actually the one that put the bag over your head." Said,
She's like, I
you
figured
know, I
that.
figured that was you. I had a feeling. Um,
Yeah.
then we get into a storyline where honestly, I don't get why this was in the movie. Did not care for this part when it was with it, and it's when they made Leo a cheater, which I have no problem making your characters cheat. That's not the issue. Like, okay, if you want to write a character that cheats, fine, but it literally like doesn't do anything for the movie, in my
Random.
opinion.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I agree. I don't think it was necessary. I guess it was there in order to have that, like, come back to earth moment for him at the end
Right?
with his family.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't think it was absolutely necessary for the movie to have gone on. He was already turning into a shitty person, and we could already see that in his character development. We didn't need him to
Yeah,
cheat to know that, but I feel
that's
like that
exactly
was
how I
just
felt.
really
Yeah,
just adding more to
right.
the fire. I don't know. Wasn't
I
necessary, but
right.
whatever.
I 100% agree because like I mean I literally wrote my notes somewhere. I don't know where I wrote it, but like you already get a sense of how far he's fallen from who he was at the beginning of the movie in terms of getting wrapped up in the whole media thing and all that kind of stuff. You didn't really need to have him cheating on top of that to show us that. Like we knew that already.
Yeah.
And then you know what I mean? But anyway, but oh this okay, I wrote the next part I wrote down was the one you mentioned already when they go on the Patriot News, which obviously, you know what that news source is uh making fun of. And they're literally acting like as they have been with COVID, like, where's the science? Are we just supposed to listen to whatever the scientists say? And then, like he said, how can we trust you? The comments got your name on it.
That's good. I just
It's just like
it's hilarious.
if you have watched Fox News at all during the pandemic, that is exactly what you're gonna get. So yeah, which I will say.
No,
So, oh no, guys, I'm sorry.
no, it's just they're idiots. That's all
Oh,
I have to say.
morons, 100%. So obviously, I mean, we haven't said this already, but it's pretty obvious. This movie is an allegory on climate change, right? Um, but they did shoot
Amongst
this
other things, I
right.
think.
But well, that's what I'm gonna get. So this is primarily an allegory on climate change when this was written. However, this was shot during the COVID pandemic. So I would imagine that there were changes to the script or changes to certain decisions made on the set that also parallel COVID-19 very specifically as well.
I guarantee that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I well, yeah. There's
Yeah.
too many specific things. Then again, I feel like when it comes to sound science, in any form, whether that has to do with climate change or a global pandemic, people are going to be idiots
Oh
and
yeah.
not believe in the science.
That's very true.
So, I guess in that regard, the reactions and the story being told is going to be the same, regardless of the theme of it. So,
Yeah.
which is why, the end of the world being a comet works and tells exactly the same story that we are seeing with a global pandemic and the exact same story we see with global warming.
Right.
It's the same story being told over and over
it's the
again.
same shit that we're getting. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they decide they're gonna launch this mission now. I love how Mark Rylance is able to just walk in the situation room because he's a platinum level donor to the campaign.
He's a platinum level
I was like,
donor.
what the hell is this? And then Jonah Hill's
Yeah,
Molly
this is the
kicking in
Hilton
at the right
Club.
time.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah,
it's the White House. Like, what the fuck? And so then now you see that Leo is, like we said, is now the kind of the poster guy for this whole mission because he's the more likable one, the more media friendly one, even though Jennifer Lawrence is sitting right there as the one who discovered the comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like you said, this guy that they sent up into space is certainly a racist individual, homophobic. The way he says all those proud white folks working down there. He's like talking about how both kinds of Indians should just get along. They should team up. That'd be amazing. He's like all the gays out there.
All the gays, and then they cut him off.
They cut him off right there. Like, shut up. And then, like you said,
they're like, please, we need an American hero. We can't.
Right. No, this is not who we
Can't afford you to be canceled as you're going to your death, which was not even necessary. I love that aspect of it where he's like, well, they're like, well, we're going to need a pilot to go up there. And he's like, well, no, we could easily have computers send them up by themselves. We don't need a human. And she's like, no, everyone needs a good American hero.
You need someone to just paint as like, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the mission ends up turning around because Peter pulls the president away from the room. Basically, they find trillions of dollars worth of these very, very nice materials in the comet itself. My immediate first question, which they also like asked pretty soon after, is why the fuck does that matter if they're all gonna die from this comet anyway? It doesn't cross their minds, and when it does, they don't want to answer it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they all obviously just want to prioritize their money, their profits, which we have seen also through this pandemic too, about how much they're willing to put aside public safety in the face of just money. We've seen plenty of that. Um,
Yep.
and then Jay, and yeah, and then they get into their explanation for how they're going to do this, because obviously you want to hear this. They will break this comet down into smaller pieces, so when it hits Earth, it won't destroy the planet, and they can instead profit from the materials on the planet. It'll create jobs,
Yeah.
and
It
yeah,
may
they
level
just
a few cities,
right.
countries even. Hey, billionaires are gonna get more money, and who doesn't
Yeah,
love that?
exactly.
So, you know, it's fine. Are those billionaires gonna pay for the damages they caused? No, of course not.
No.
But they're gonna get money from it, so that's all that
Exactly.
matters. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So basically, then they're all in a restaurant together, because basically Kate and the Dr. Oglethorpe have been kind of kicked away from the administration. It's just Randall now who's there in the White House. He's telling them what happened. So then Kate decides to tell everyone in the restaurant that they're eating at this, and next thing you know, we got riots like crazy.
Right.
Just plain riots. They take her off the grid, and you just see like how much more ridiculous this gets in terms of how it divides the country, that they're actually going to let this comet hit the Earth. Like, her parents won't even let it in the house because their excuse is like, we don't need more political division. We think it's going to create
That
jobs.
part killed me. Yeah, it was like we stand with the comet that creates jobs, and it's
Yeah,
like
I was like, the comet that's going to kill you.
what? You're saying no, daughter, go away.
Go away.
We stand with the comet. What?
Yeah,
It is
it's
insane. Oh wow, yeah, just everything about that, but whatever. But that's fine, because you know what? Next couple scenes, we get Rat Boy. That's my favorite Rat Boy.
It's just, cannot wait for him. But before that happens, then real quick then, because like we said, we don't really care about this, but I'll just go over it real quick. Is when Randall, his wife finds him cheating. Obviously, like we said, we don't think this matters in the grand scheme of things. But I do think the only shining part of this is his wife throwing all the pills at him is pretty funny. He's like, here's his Zoloft for his depressions. Here's his Xanax for his panic attacks. Like, yeah.
Wait, is his name really Randall?
Isn't it Dr. Mindy? It's Randall, right?
I always heard Dr. Mindy, so don't think I caught his first name. But I feel like it's an accurate first name.
Randall, yeah, that sounds good. I don't know why Randall stuck with more than Dr. Mindy, because they call him that way more.
No offense to all the Randalls out there.
No.
My cousin's name is Randy.
Oh, the only other Randall that I think of is Monsters Inc. Randall.
That too. I met a lot of dogs named Randy. Oh. They weren't really named Randy. I just named them Randy.
Oh, in your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Randy Jackson, American Idol.
Yeah, dog. Anyway, moving on.
We get an iconic man that comes into this movie. Because basically Jennifer Lawrence is off the grid. Timothy Chalamet comes in with like, I like to buy these sunglasses. I was like, what is he doing? Love that he's in this. And I was really wondering where they would I was worried his role was just going to be kind of like the stupid comic relief kind of side character. But as we see by the end, he actually gave me one of my favorite moments of the movie. But
yeah, he ended up, what started off as just like, oh God, this is going to be just a ridiculous, weird cameo.
I thought it was going to be like a cameo. Yeah.
I was not expecting him to play like a larger part. And while he doesn't necessarily play like a huge part that's elemental to the story, I still enjoyed his character. And how that ended up working out. I thought that worked out really well, surprisingly.
So yeah.
So way to go, Rat Boy. I'm so proud of you.
You can't do no wrong with him. And then this is the scene then, like, they're talking about the Bash mission in the, what's it called? Aircraft, whatever they are for the planes. And Mark Rylance cannot stand this character so much. And he's playing it great. But in the way that he's like, are you really calling me like a businessman? I'm like, dude, you're literally
This is what
businessman.
you
What are
are.
you doing? That's what
That's what
you
you
are.
are. You are nothing more. You are not. You are not a philanthropist. If that's what you're
Right.
trying to go for,
Like
you
if
are
you
not a
really think
scientist.
no.
You have nothing going for you other than the fact that you have money and have no morals. That is what you are.
Right.
It's yeah,
It's just
yeah.
they're so annoying. And then the best, most amazing cherry on top is President Meryl Streep lighting a cigarette in front of that truck that says flammable.
Flammable. I,
You
I
are
cracked up for like a solid
morons.
like 2 minutes after that. Like that was hilarious to me. I was like, if that is just like the just the that frame alone
Yeah, yeah, right.
encompasses
The whole
so
movie,
many of these characters and just like there's a whole storyline of just like safety precautions be damned, we're gonna do whatever the hell we want
right?
because we are greedy selfish individuals and that's what we do. It's
That's all
just
it. Um,
perfect.
yeah. So this is where Leo is like, okay, I'm done with y'all. He goes back on that show, and he finally just goes crazy, ranting, screaming, and I love it for his character, and I love it for his acting, and I love how the scene ends when he's like, I pray that we all," and it just cuts to the back of his head too.
Yeah, just everything
Yeah,
about
but
this.
it's good to see his character. Like, actually, I mean, yeah, obviously, like it's a wake up call. Like he's realized they're clearly not there for the people, right? Like we're not here to save this planet, especially. Um, and now he's kind of off the grid too. Um, and then yeah, so then Timothy and Jennifer Lawrence are kind of like a couple now because they're like, why not? World's ending. But then this is the moment where they're able to see finally the comet up there in the sky. They see a little like blinky
Yeah.
kind of mark like flying through. They're like, oh my god, the comet! They stop, and I do love the score in this moment too. So the music in this movie has been interesting. Like you get some like kind of the quieter moments too, and you get cause kind of the jazz, the boop 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 kind of parts too. I like the quieter moments more of the music, and then I feel like in this moment particularly really works with like the fact that now people are actually able to see this comet finally.
Yeah.
Um, but however,
Still
they're
not.
just well,
Yeah.
no. But here's the thing: people can see it. They just some people choose not to, and that's where it comes with the saying, well, "Just look up." That's the hashtag
Yep.
that's going
Yep.
around because there's some people that literally will refuse to look up into the sky.
Yeah, I mean, clearly these people have never seen the Polar Express because isn't like the whole thing is like seeing is
Seeing is
believing. Or I don't
believing.
know.
I'm
I don't know.
surprised you
I didn't
remember
pay
that because
attention.
you didn't like that movie.
Yeah, I hate that movie. I hate that movie so
You
much.
haven't seen that episode. That's it was an interesting one.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely watch that where Caesar goes into it and is like, "All right, guys, we're gonna review a Christmas movie," and I'm like, "I hate this movie with a burning passion." It's incredible, and I really shock him.
You do. For someone who doesn't even love the movie, I was just surprised. I was more just surprised how
Yeah,
much you didn't like it. But anyway,
yeah,
um, now you're starting to see really more of this division over the idea of looking up into the sky, like that whole speech Meryl Streep gives. That's very much a Trump speech kind of speech you would get.
yeah. So once
Um,
again, political divisions are happening with,
right.
don't look up or look up,
Or just
or
look
in the
up. Yeah.
case of
Chris
certain
Evans.
actors like Chris Evans, got an arrow pointing up and down because not interested in this political bullshit happening. I love. I love that he has just been popping up
Oh, his
at
cameos
the
this
most
year have been
random
fantastic.
time. Yeah, just random cameos for seconds long. Immaculate. I love it. He steals the show every time.
Not to spoil this movie, but I guess why not? It's been out for a few months. His cameo in Free Guy was awesome, and his
Incredible.
cameo
Yeah.
in there might be even better because, like you said, he has this pin that's just two arrows. It's an up and down arrow because he's like, I'm just going through the middle, man. Like, like what does that even mean? You look up and you look up and you don't look up at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. That's what he does.
Basically,
That's because you never want to be on the wrong side of history. Am I right?
right.
So
Someone who doesn't want to be on the wrong side of history is Ariana Grande's character because something about her character too is now she's actually talking about this whole comet going down, which
yeah.
basically reflects the idea of celebrities only really talking about these topics whenever it's trendy, right?
And
Like
yeah, and convenient for them, and it
convenient for
helps
them,
promote their
right?
image. Yeah.
Like,
And
how
suddenly
often did
matters.
we see this like during the Black Lives Matter movement last summer? Like,
Yeah.
or
Where
was it?
it's
Oh,
like,
summer before, whatever summer it was.
yeah, where we've seen celebrities who like showed up for like 2 minutes or like took a picture there and like ended up like getting a sign photoshopped or
Right.
something into their picture. And it's like,
Or
so
or the best part, change their profile pictures just a black screen.
how could we forget
How like I was like
that
icon. That's
wonderful time?
activism at its finest, yo.
Activism at its finest. Nothing screams, stop being racist like a black square.
It was beautiful. It's beautiful stuff. But
Beautiful
that's
time.
that's certainly
Yeah.
what that I feel like what that character is going for, and it's more exemplified by how amazingly dumb this Just Look Up song is. Obviously it sounds good. You have Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi on the song. Like it's a good sounding song, but the lyrics are so
Yeah.
hilariously dumb,
The
and
start
I
of the
love it.
song sounds like it could be like a real song,
Right.
but it progressively gets more and more ridiculous, though it does have that iconic line that we just need to listen to it. Just listen to the goddamn
Nice.
scientist. It's that easy, you know? Just
Yeah.
it's science. It's science. What more do you have to hear to understand that? It's not made up. It's not a myth. It's science. It's just it. Oh God. Oh God.
This is really the rant episode for you today.
Well, because dude, we're
I mean, I get it.
screwed.
I mean, this is the movie to do it, right?
Like, do you? Yeah. Like, do you not? Do you just like? We're screwed. We're done.
It's
We're
bad.
done.
It's very bad.
We're done. It's bad. It's bad. And it's only getting worse.
I mean, hell, if you want to make it more real life, that whole scene where Jonah Hill's at the rally with his mom, and she's like, "If she wasn't my mother," I mean, goddamn,
Oh God.
like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is a Trumpism right there. It's
That
almost
that
documentary like
is
at this point.
it very may well be just a documentary of the shit show that we have going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, and then they start chanting, don't look up," which really sounded to me like "Build the Wall." Connected to my head, and then of course they see the comet literally like about to crash on Earth and realize they're being lied to. And then Jonah Hill's like, "You cut my face, you." What did I say? Cut my face. You cut my face, you fucking rednecks. Just turns on him so fast, which
Yeah,
really
he
shows to me
suddenly- yeah.
like in my like a lot of people have said about Trump. Real quick, does not care about his supporters. Like he just knows he needs them to get to where he wants to be. But as soon as they turn on him, he will turn on them very
Oh,
quickly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
he was only looking out for himself, clearly.
Right. Clearly. So
Never at any point cared about any of the citizens here in America.
right.
So, you know.
I love these lines that we get from Timothy Chalamet though when he's like in the car. He's like, "Dr. Minnie, can I be vulnerable in your car?" Love that. And when they're in the
He is
grocery
a
store,
shining star in just like the mess
his
that is
character
happening
is like,
all
yeah,
around him.
love that.
I
for
love
him.
it. Yeah.
And he's like, "I fucking love fingerling potatoes, dude. Me too. I get it. They're so good."
They are good. They're very good.
Yes, but now they're on. So basically, they're at Bash because that's the only mission at this point that has any chance of succeeding. Because some other countries tried to have their own mission, but it exploded. So like, all we have left is Bash. This is our only hope left of saving the world.
And that's the shitty thing of it all, is that you have other countries who are competent enough to tackle this head on when it first came up. But unfortunately, we have the science for it. Like we have the materials for it.
We screwed it up.
And we screw it up.
Sounds like us. Sounds like the beginning of COVID.
Sounds accurate.
Sounds like us.
Yeah.
100%. Other countries actually had the chance to do something about it, and we just had to get in the way of it somehow.
That's
Anyways,
what we do.
but I love Jonah Hill, the prayer that they allow him to give on the air. He's like, we need to be thankful too for material things too, like, it's a
And
cars
you know what?
and all. It's nice.
I was like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then I had a moment today where I was very materialistic.
You were.
Suddenly I understand.
Exactly. You're part of the problem, Martha.
I am the problem.
Yes.
So.
That's fair. Another
was about
Timothy
to
line. Oh,
fight
was
other
that?
people, but whatever. No,
Anyway,
ignore me.
back
Continue.
to Timothy. Another line that I love that he gave was when they finally do show up to Leo's family's house to make amends, which I thought was a great moment. And he's like, "I'm fire. What is it? I'm fire Puma 42. I think was his username on Twitch. You game?
Oh yeah, but he said to like not the sons, but
No,
to,
but they
to his
to his
wife.
wife.
You game?
Not the son. Not the sons actually look like they would be gamers, but
Yeah.
his
Yep.
wife. Yeah.
His wife. Yeah.
Anyway, but I do really like the editing that they choose to go back and forth between, like I said, this family coming back together and making their final dinner and everything like that, and then back to the bash mission, which is going horribly wrong. And Mark
Horribly
Rylance is
wrong.
just like, it's okay, it's fine, everything's going
Yeah.
according to plan. Look at his teeth out like that.
Yeah.
It's
He's
it's fucking funny. Um,
yeah.
and I will say too, I something else I wanted to point out too. I think the visual effects for this movie are actually quite good.
They're very good.
Good.
They're
Which
like, and they just the whole ending of this movie, the visual
yeah,
effects are absolutely incredible. There are some scenes that like they make the end of the world beautiful. Like
yeah, yeah.
as crazy as that sounds. Yeah.
I agree
It,
with you there. I
yeah.
but I like that they chose that because you would think for a movie that's like this, like a comedy, they could put together some kind of like silly looking visual effect together. But I feel like it's because it looks more realistic. It makes the whole end of the world situation feel that much more dark.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Yeah.
you're actually looking at an image of the world like crumbling on itself.
Well, yeah. There's I think there's like two other moments of this movie where they're like looking at like the comet, and they're like, it's so beautiful, but it's so terrifying. Like this
I
is
mean, there's literally that shot of that guy. He's like in the mountains, like drumming as the
yeah.
comet's falling around.
Like that's the scene
It's
that
a gorgeous shot, but it's like also scary. It's like that's how
it's
the final
it's
image of the world ending around
terrifying.
you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a nice touch. Nice touch.
yeah,
I'm glad that they included that, but yeah.
right. So everyone at Bash has realized that this mission has it's done. It's failed. Nothing's happened. The comet is still intact. So the CEO goes on his bathroom break. President goes on her bathroom break, and everyone just suddenly is like, okay, you know what? Fuck this. I gotta go be with my family. Like the world, no, we're not staying here. And it's
Yeah.
honestly maybe kind of sad how Jason was just there all by himself. She's like, he's coming.
He's
She's
like,
coming back.
she's coming back.
I was like, why do I feel
He's
sorry
just
for this guy right now?
yeah. Poor guy. Poor guy. And he's like looks like just a little kid who lost his mom in the mall, and it's like
I know.
she's gonna come back
She's coming
eventually.
back.
No, because, sir, once again, she does not care about you. She does not care
Right.
about anyone else except for herself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And I love, so this was to me like the sweetest moment in the movie was when they're all finally sat around the dinner table and Jennifer Lawrence is like, well, I'm grateful we tried. Like it's important
Yeah.
that like we tried. And then Timothy gives his prayer. That was so sweet. Like
Yeah.
it was beautifully said and like it just felt perfect for the moment.
Yeah. It's that like found family moment. That's a beautiful moment in the midst of the end of the world. And it's a nice juxtaposition of just like something that is sweet and nice to watch. Is just people who are being with the people who actually like mean something to them,
Yeah.
and all around you the world is crumbling in, and that whole scene is just so it's
Oh yeah.
it's a powerful scene.
It honestly like it was very powerful to me, especially because they're all carrying on the conversation at the table like normal, like nothing's happening outside of them right now. Like they just want to keep going that all the way to the end.
Yeah,
And to
I
me
mean
that like felt powerful in that
the
way.
earthquake's happening, and they're all, and you can see in their eyes that they're all terrified, but at the same time they still have this like this calmness to them, because it's like they've almost come to like accept their death. They've accepted their fate, but it's like, if I'm gonna die, at least it's here. And again, it's like we tried, you know?
Right.
And that's what mattered. And but then there's also that like painful sentiment of it's like we really had everything we needed. We could have stopped it.
That killed
this
me when
didn't
said
have
that.
to be the outcome.
Yeah.
And if that isn't just we have
we really
everything
did have
we
everything.
need.
Yeah.
But it's human nature. It's just our selfish need to just always want more than we ever need, and it fails us every time. And this movie did a wonderful job of showing that. So
100%. I mean,
yeah.
Because I personally love how this isn't like a Hollywood ending where like there's a chance of them saving the world. No, none of that. Because
No.
I will say that like, but first time I watched this, I saw it with my dad, and he even was saying like, oh, like I thought there was a way that I thought for a second there was a way they were gonna be able to save the planet and stuff, and I was like, no. Like there is a reason why the movie had to end like that. Because
They're telling a story. They are telling a real story.
Right. Quite frankly, with the world coming to end in real life as we're seeing through climate change, we would not be getting that happy Hollywood ending either. Because yes, like at the end of the day, this is satire. Like obviously it's made for us to laugh at it, kind of laugh at ourselves in a way. But like we were saying earlier, like it is kind of scary in the way that how real this feels and how based in our reality this feels. And I think the scary thing is we don't seem to be any closer to kind of figuring all this out amongst ourselves. We're still pretty distant from it. And that's I think that's the scary thing about it.
That is the most terrifying part about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is that it's like we laugh at it, but we still don't understand.
We don't get it. We just
we have everything we need, but we are not moving forward like we should be. We are constantly taking 10 steps back with every move we make. So,
especially because I would say the last 4 or 5 years of my life have been the most divisive I've ever seen us as a society be. And like quite frankly, I don't see that coming to an end anytime soon.
No, we're in the middle of it, and it's not. There is no end in sight. So,
quick last little detail that I really loved was Ron Perlman shooting at the comet. That was his solution. He was going to try to stop it himself. I thought that was great.
Incredible. Yeah.
Go ahead, Zach.
No, I was going to say there was one other thing that I wanted to mention of just how it was. There was a lot of like switching between cameras with handheld cameras, and I thought that was really interesting to see because it just shows like more of like the chaos of the moment. Like at one point that I remember it happening is like him getting out of the car to go look at the comet, and it's a very shaky camera that's happening. I'm like, those are nice little details. Like again, there's just so many details in the camera from like in the movie, from like the camera work to like there's one shot of like they're at a bar and there are people like, watching the news, is like seeing if I think it was like if the thing was going to work to break up the comet. And then they're in the middle of the bar is a girl with a shirt that's like promoting Planned Parenthood, and she's on her phone. Could not be more interested in what's happening on screen. And it's like it's little details like that that's like, again, you're shooting at both sides here. Like you are taking digs where you can. I
didn't even notice that. I don't know where you're talking about that, but I'm sure that was in the movie. That's pretty crazy. there's you'd have to watch this movie I think multiple times. I mean, that was only on my first viewing, and I'm sure there's so many other points that I missed, but there's so many little details like at the forefront of the movie and in the background that are just perfectly portraying this world. Like it's done very well. So because I agree to an extent. A lot of people that don't like this movie have criticized it for being too on the nose, which honestly I don't even disagree with that. Like I do think it is too on the nose, but I loved it for that. Honestly, I think it needed to be on the nose. There's no other way. There's no way to be subtle about this. And
exactly, we can't be subtle about this. The story needs to be told exactly how it was, and it 100% is on the nose. And you know what, we don't like to be called out, we don't like to be judged, but we need to be judged.
We have to.
So
that's the only way we're going to change. So Shout out though to the
Yeah.
mid credit scene. We didn't talk about that. I think it's
Oh, how could
hilarious
we
when they
forget?
land on this new planet. I don't know how many thousands of years later. And then the president dies by the Pronto Rock, which earlier in the movie he says that's how you're gonna die. Very well deserved death. But what I did love about this is because his prediction of her dying that way was true, but the way he said Dr. Mindy was gonna die was false because he said he was gonna die
Yeah.
alone when he died the opposite way with his family.
Yeah. This
So I
whole
thought that
family,
was a
people
very
he
nice
cared about.
touch. Right.
Yeah.
And then post credit scene was pretty great. As turns out, Jason he survived the comet, and he's the
Last man on Earth.
last man on Earth. And his thought is to call for his mommy and record himself
Make a
going
video.
like, "We out here,
Yeah.
last man on Earth."
Last on Earth. Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe.
It's yeah. Yep. Because that is exactly what we would do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Oh, I probably would
inaccurate.
vlog too, even if I knew no one was gonna see it because everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that is the end of the movie. Did you have any final thoughts on the movie before we wrap up?
I mean, overall, it's definitely a very intriguing storyline. Really grabs you. It I laughed throughout the whole movie. A lot of times it was a pained laugh. That was like
Oh,
because
definitely.
things
Yeah.
got a little too real. But it was the details that just overall added to the story and gave it that sense of realism that makes it, I think, makes it a good movie. But hey, in the end, we're all gonna die. The movie gave me a headache after watching it. What more can I say?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm full in agreement with you there. I mean, I was laughing at this from start to finish, and like I said, there was kind of the amount of joy I had from that, but also an amount of fear and a little sadness. Especially the ending was definitely powerful to me. It ended on a real emotional note for me, which I was not expecting, considering the amount of cameos throughout
Yeah.
this. But I was definitely affected by this, and yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, and I hope it gets some of the award recognition that I believe it deserves. I know a lot of people don't feel that way. I think it deserves some of that attention for me. It's definitely the
Yeah.
funniest movie of the year for me, pretty easily too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I very much agree.
Did you have a rating for this movie?
I don't know. Because I went into it with an idea, but now coming out of it, I'm not. I don't know.
Sure.
I
I'll
think
do
I
mine
might
first
actually
if you're not ready.
go higher. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
That would be my score for this.
All right. See, I went into it thinking an 8. But I think after my rants, I kind of want to give it a 9.
Okay, that's fair. All
Because
right.
I very much enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'm glad. Hey, I thought you were gonna give this like a 4. So I was like, well, the way you
No.
texted that to me, I was like, she probably hated it.
No, my dad is going to be very excited to listen to this. To this one, he was like, after he watched the movie too, he was like, I need to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. Did he like it too?
Yeah, he really liked it too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think he's on the same wave as us. Thank God. So that's good.
Yes. I will say every person that I personally talked to, like at least in my life, but it's not a huge. Not I'm not gonna say it's not representative of the general public, but everyone I've talked to likes it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, I've gotten mixed reviews from the people in my life.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that says about them, but no.
Right? No.
No.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, the movie. So maybe it's a little too real for some people, and that I 100% understand that. Like I said, this movie gave me a headache to watch. I still thoroughly enjoyed it though. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I completely understand with some of his choices. Adam McKay rubbed people the wrong way, like the editing and stuff like that. Because I will say, I don't know if you've seen Vice or The Big Short. I've only seen Vice, but a lot of the editing in that movie is very similar to this. Even The Big Short, I haven't seen the whole thing, but the part I have seen it's like that too. That's kind of his thing. So, yeah, maybe, yeah, I don't know. This really worked for us as we can, if we talked about, and glad we talked about it.
Wait, did I give my score?
You said 9.
Okay, cool.
You literally just gave your score. Like,
Well, no, because I was like, I know I talked leading up to it, but I don't know if I like ever officially gave it.
No,
yes, a 9. A 9
good.
was what it was. Cool.
Okay. Sure. Martha, on that note then, do you remember the movie for next week?
Oh, you bet I do. I'm about to give these viewers whiplash if they watched, I think it was like the episode on the 2020 movies, anticipated movies.
Yeah.
Because I talked about this movie before and I was like, not, and I was like, it was okay. And now I'm coming this week and I'm like, I'm excited to talk about this movie. We are watching Encanto.
Yes. Encanto is our movie for next week.
It's
have not
grown
seen it yet,
on me.
Which is very interesting to hear that. This will be your third time watching. This will be my first. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. I'm like, I'm gonna hold it off in case we do talk about it. So I'm glad we are. Very interested to hear it from your perspective as someone who, like you said, I remember you talked about it when you first watched it, saying that it was all right for a Disney movie, but not the best. And now you're coming in here singing praises. So
quite literally singing. The singing. Soundtrack has not left my head for the past 2 weeks, and it's a problem, and I don't know how to get it to stop, and I'm really concerned. So,
okay, it makes me want to slightly change my mind for next week, but we'll keep it there.
No, you're stuck.
No. Okay. Anyways, so if you have not seen Encanto yet, like myself, it is streaming for free on Disney Plus, which is pretty cool. It came out on Disney Plus very quickly. I was planning on seeing it in the theater, and we just didn't have the time to. And then when we actually were planning on to, boom, Disney Plus.
Yes.
So okay, well, you just saved me $8 a ticket, so thank you for that.
Very happy about that.
Anywho, yeah, check that out. That'll be next week's episode. What else we got here? You want to catch us through audio platforms? You can catch us Spotify, Apple, and all the audio. Yes. Check us out on our YouTube channel at Inner Screen Podcast. We hit over 50. We're almost to we're almost to mark this 2022 entire goal. Did I say 2022?
2022.
We've almost hit the goal of 62 subscribers from Martha. So if you can help us get there, that'd be amazing. Definitely like and comment and like the videos and all that. Also, I think on Spotify now for podcasts, you can leave reviews or ratings or something like that. So make sure to do that. Do the same thing on Apple. Any feedback would be very much appreciated, good or bad. We don't care. We just care that you care enough to say something. It's pretty cool.
Please judge us. That's what we
judge us all you want, literally.
Yeah. Actually, according to my personality type, I do not take what is it called? Criticism. Yeah, I don't take criticism well, apparently. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? So I was upset about that.
That's the point right there.
Yeah.
Finally, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. In a wider screen is our @name, and we'll post updates on the show and all that kind of stuff. So
when we feel like it.
Whenever we feel like it, yeah. That's more accurate way to put it.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts for today?
Listen to the goddamn scientists.
Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Bye.